This Waymo versus Tesla FSD comparison video is brought to you by Chat LLM Teams from Abacus AI. This is my favorite LLM app where you can talk to every state-of-the-art model all in one place for just $10 per user per month for your entire company. They got features like chat with docs, playground, route LLM to find the best LLM for your question, voice. It's really cool. Try it out at chatllm.abacus.ai. Your first month is completely free. Hello, friends. It is time for a Waymo versus Tesla FSD comparison. So what we're going to do is we've picked a random address. We're going to have Waymo drive there, driverlessly, and then we're going to have Tesla FSD drive there, and we're going to compare how both systems perform. Let's go.
Heading to 6455 Hayes Drive.
Okay,
Please
some
make sure
strange
your
steering
seatbelt
wheel
is
motion there to start
For
off.
any questions, press the call support button to speak with a rider support agent.
The car is trying to navigate through. There's a person, Tesla service rep. It was able to get through there. That was pretty impressive. All right, how do I tell this thing to shut up? I don't need ambient music. All right, we're heading out. There's some train tracks to our left. Nice smooth ride. This car only has about 39 miles of battery left, it looks like, so it's probably going to have to go charge after picking me up. After dropping me off, I mean. It's making a right turn. Nicely done. And now getting ready to make a left turn here onto Olympic. Now we've got a green light. There are pedestrians crossing on the left. A little bit of a hard braking event there as oncoming traffic approaches. Waymo says it's waiting for the intersection to clear. For the Tesla test, we'll have to try and do it at the same time of day, so I just dropped off my car at Tesla service. Maybe tomorrow, if I get it back, I'll do the same test at the same time. So it's about 1 o'clock, I think maybe 12:50ish when I left. So around 12:50 to 1 o'clock, I'll try and leave in the Tesla. And of course, the better test would be to actually run them at the same time, side by side, but I need another person with me to do that. So that test I will perform as well, but I'll do it when I have another person to sit in the Waymo. I wanted to do one first where I'm sitting in both and I can comment on what I'm seeing. So, the Waymo, it is driverless. It's the world's leading driverless service. So hard not to be impressed by that. It is a great experience to be here without a driver, to be in the back seat, to know that I have no obligation to intervene. Okay, a little bit of slowing down. Slowing down for no reason, possibly because that car was going to change lanes in front of us. But it does seem to be driving too slow now. I think it may have seen that 25 school speed limit sign and slowed down because of that. But there are no children present. It says 25 when children are present. And none of the other cars slowed down. So it was good. It was obeying the school speed limit sign, but it is not how the other cars behaved, and there were no children around. That would make that sign apply. It does say that it's going to be about 30 minutes. Interesting thing is, I think for Tesla FSD, it said about 15 minutes. That is, of course, because Tesla FSD can get on the highway, whereas Waymo right now, unless you're an employee, they won't get on the highway. Only employees, I think, in the Bay Area. In Los Angeles, they're not getting on the freeways yet. And honestly, I don't blame them. We've got some pretty crazy freeways here. So right now, you have to take the surface streets if you're taking a Waymo. That is, in many cases, going to result in a longer trip. So a lot of people think, oh, well, it's driverless, right? I mean, that's obviously extremely impressive. But for the user, when you're trying to select how to actually get around, driverless is one factor. Certainly it is novel, it's cool, it's nice not to have a driver, it's nice to have a predictable driving feel. But other factors like cost, time to get to the destination, the general user experience, these things matter too. And I think with Tesla FSD, it's going to get you there. You're not going to have to drive. You are going to have to monitor, but you're not going to have to take surface streets the whole way. It can actually go and take more risks, right? It can get on the highway because you are there as a human supervisor. And it can begin training to do that at scale because they know there's a human behind the wheel. So it may not be glamorous having a human behind the wheel, but it allows you to get on the highway today. Whereas with Waymo, you're taking surface streets. That alone is a big reason for me to take my Tesla if I'm doing this trip. Even if I have to supervise, it just doesn't make sense to take twice as long to get to the destination just to be able to do it in a driverless car. Especially when the experience in the Tesla is very similar to a driverless car. It may actually get me from point A to point B without me having to touch anything quite often. So, it's kind of interesting. People have been talking a lot about Tesla versus Waymo in the wake of Tesla's 1010 event. People either tend to love Tesla and talk up that side, or love Waymo and say, oh my god, these guys are so far ahead, they're driverless already. The reality is, Waymo is the #1 driverless service in the world. Tesla doesn't have a driverless service yet, but both have their pros and cons. Both systems actually have pluses and minuses. And I think anybody who's being fair has to acknowledge that there are benefits to both systems and many important metrics where Tesla's ahead. For example, in cost, right? You can actually buy the Tesla system because it's a pure vision system. That means you're not going to get the driverless experience that you get with Waymo, with their very extensive perception suite, their mapping, their closely monitored service. But it does mean that you can be in your own car, you can drive for the parts you want, you can let it drive for the parts that you don't want to drive, and you can go anywhere, as opposed to just being able to go within a very narrow area where they've heavily tested the driverless functionality. So if you're being honest, you have to say, look, there's some strengths to this approach today, and there's some strengths to the pure vision approach. But I don't think, if you're being honest, you can say, oh, Waymo is just so far ahead in every aspect. They're ahead in driverless level reliability. That, I think, is where they're the leader. In terms of scale, in terms of where you can use it, in terms of cost, in terms of the user experience, they actually are not as good as Uber in many cases. An Uber driver can get on the freeway, right? If I'm late to work, am I going to take the driverless car that's going to take twice as long? Or am I just going to take a human-driven Uber? Cost. All these things matter, right? So, are they going to take over the world, Waymo? They could. If they can get costs down, if they can scale, if they can make it run anywhere, if they can really make it something that can replace your car, then they will make a lot of money. But it's kind of funny. It's like we're watching a marathon here with autonomy, and a lot of people are judging the race based on who went off the start line first. And they said, oh, look, Waymo's the first off the start line. They won the race. Well, is Waymo going to cross the finish line first? Are they going to have a product that can replace your car first? That's not so clear. In many ways, okay, again, it's going a little slow. In many ways, I think Tesla's ahead, and Andre Krabati actually agrees with me. It's at 35, and it's going under 30. Again, it says crossing ahead. I don't see any school zone, but I do see a sign that says crossing ahead. But, oh yeah, no, school speed limit 25 when children are present. So this is kind of interesting. This may be different in San Francisco and LA. In LA, I think we have these signs more often, even though I don't see any school. I see a Ralph's, I see a body shop, I see a strip mall, but I don't see any children. So I think the Waymo team, if anyone from the Waymo team is watching this, you may want to adjust that behavior a little bit. Follow the school speed limit when you observe children present. So really at 3 o'clock when the kids get out, and 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning when they're getting in, you may have some kids by those signs. Other times it may just be traffic that is normal and should be free-flowing and isn't something where you want the Waymo to be disrupting traffic. I mean, look here, we're driving in the left lane, and it is a 35, and we're driving under 30. Okay, now the Waymo's speeding up again. We must have gotten out of that school zone. To be fair, Tesla FSD is also driving under the speed limit, but not even because of the school zone, just for no reason. So that's a bug that has been in FSD lately, but turns out figuring out what speed to drive at is pretty challenging. Seems simple to us, not so simple to computers. Really easy to have a bug that makes you drive too fast or too slow. So that's another thing. If I'm in an Uber, you're not going to have it randomly slow down. If I'm in a Tesla with FSD and it randomly slows down, I can turn the system off. I can press the accelerator. In Waymo, you just kind of have to live with it. And so all these little issues are that much more crucial to get right, in the sense that your user adoption is going to be a function of user satisfaction. And these little annoyances, they will make people consider taking other services. If you get a perfect drive every time, then that's not a downside for people to consider. But people do remember these little things. Of course, if you're just on your phone, maybe you won't even notice. All right, here we've got a semi-truck in the middle of the road. It looks like it wants to pull in maybe or cross the street. Waymo handled that nicely. Alright, we're moving again, halfway to our destination. Making progress. Hey, there's another Waymo. So many EVs, so many robot cars here on the streets of California. It's really crazy to see.
Stop added.
Alright, we're moving again. Here's a guy in the middle of the road. This kind of thing happens in LA. Just some guy just in the middle of the road, stuck. Some grandma or something. Now there's someone honking at me. Hey, it's not my fault. And who's he honking at? Doesn't he know this car is driverless? He honking at the computer? But, you know, honestly, we count the number of interventions. After interventions are a thing of the past, we're going to be just counting honks. Or maybe there won't be any honks if there are no human drivers. Everyone will just be relaxed. Everyone's blood pressure will go down a little bit. Okay. Looks like it wants to change lanes. But it's not doing it for some reason. Okay, now it turned off its blinker. That was a little odd. braking there. Not sure why. Okay, it is changing lanes. Not the smoothest lane change in the world. Okay, now it's showing its blinker to go back there. Very odd. But, you know, I mean, these are pretty minor quibbles. Do I really care if I'm looking at my phone? No. If I'm being super observant and staring at it, I can notice these things, but it just does the right thing. I mean, it gets you there without an intervention. But it, you know, it is interesting. If you want to study these systems, what exactly is it doing here? Maybe if I was to theorize, it didn't like those little yellow things sticking up on the side on the left. Maybe it thought they were like construction cones or something. Okay, it's kind of struggling to make that lane change. Or just being very cautious. Here we've got the right lane closed. Maybe that's why it was trying to get into the left lane, because it knew the right lane was closed ahead. I don't know. Alright, this ride's so boring, I'm just on X. Okay, looks like it wants to change lanes to the right now for some reason. Okay, now it decided it doesn't want to. Alright, I gotta get off X and watch what it's doing. But that's the thing about Waymo is, You can just go on X. It's not going to be beeping on you. The ride may be twice as long, but you don't have to pay attention. It's really nice. So all these little things, the blinker, it's really not your problem. You know, that's their problem to worry about, why their car is showing the blinker. I can just read something, watch TV, do some work. So the hype is real for driverless. It really is just as great as we hoped it would be. As a matter of fact, the Tesla Service Center, they said, hey, you want an Uber voucher? I said, no, thanks. I'm going to take a Waymo. Because I want to make a video. I might actually be home by now if I had taken an Uber, and it would have been free, as opposed to $30. But hopefully the ad revenue on this YouTube video covers the fare. Okay, very nice there. You had a big truck full of cars. It was sticking out into this lane a little bit, and the Waymo just offset totally naturally. So, you know, some of the Waymo haters say, oh, well, everything's just mapped. It can't do anything that's not on the map. Well, clearly that truck is not on the map. It's able to respond to dynamic situations extremely competently. I mean, this is the Google AI team we're talking about here. They're not idiots. Clearly, what we're seeing here is not possible without very powerful deep learning. It's not all just mapping. I think obviously the mapping technology, the ability to localize the car very accurately is a key part of the tech stack as far as I'm aware. But it's a little bit of a exaggeration to say that it's all just mapped, right? The mapping can help with some things. It can make you more sure, but you obviously are going to need to handle dynamic situations based on just your perception system. This is funny. I'm in the Waymo. It says, please recharge vehicle. again. It's just so boring, it just works. Maybe not the fastest ride, but it works. Alright, we're slowing down again. Must be another school zone. I do see... Oh. Nice. That was unexpected, but good. Maybe that's why I was slowing down, or maybe this is a school. We are approaching our destination here. 1 minute to go.
Getting close. Don't let your belongings right away. Grab your stuff now.
Okay, kind of cut off that that Taycan a little bit, but you know. And it's now finding a spot to pull over. Great, we made it to our destination.
You're here.
Thanks so
Please
much,
make sure
everyone,
it's
for
clear
watching.
before exiting.
And I'll have Tesla now attempt to do the same drive, same start and end point, and we can then compare the results. Thanks for watching, everyone. All right, yesterday we tried this drive in Waymo. Now let's try the exact same drive with Tesla FSD. All right. Looks like there was a pedestrian, but they stopped. And we're now pulling out onto the road. Very nice, smooth driving. Now, unlike the Waymo, FSD can actually take the highway. So this is going to be a very different drive, very different route than the Waymo took. So we won't be able to compare them on the same route, but we'll be able to see how they did going from the same start point to the same end point. We're going to make a right turn here. There's a cyclist. There's a pedestrian crossing the street. And very nice, smooth right turn. Just beautiful. And of course, the Tesla is doing this all with just computer vision, just cameras, whereas the Waymo had a much more extensive perception suite. It's got LiDAR, it's got radar. Those things are spinning on the roof, on the sides of the car, shooting lasers all over the place. This is operating with the same kind of camera you have on your phone. Getting into the left turn lane here, very nice. We need to wait for traffic to give us an opening before making the left turn. There's no left turn arrow here on Olympic Boulevard, which I think the Waymo also went the same route. So far they're going the same way, but presumably the Tesla's going to get on the highway. All right, we got another car coming, but it's making a right turn. The Tesla cautiously waits and then makes a left turn. Perfect. I love that. Now we're going to make a right turn onto Cloverfield Boulevard in half a mile. We're getting into the right turn here, right turn lane here. Preparing to make our right turn, and we can see the sign 10 west this way. And that is the highway we're likely going to be taking, or sorry, the 10 east, since we're heading east. Quarter mile to go until we get on the highway here. Man, a lot of Teslas. Look at that. Model 3, Model Y, Model 3. All of these are going to be running FSD if they're not already. There's another Model X over there. And this is our right turn to get onto the freeway, it looks like. We're waiting patiently, lots of cross traffic. All right, we got a green right turn arrow. BMW i3, Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model Y. Okay, here's a cyclist right in the path of the right turn, but the car went around them gracefully. Very nice. There's another Tesla Model 3 behind us. Oh, 2 Tesla Model 3s behind us. This is crazy. There's just Teslas everywhere. And people probably don't even know about no nag FSD yet. I mean, we're trending towards every car on the road being a Tesla in California. So, all the training data they can gather, all the real-time telemetry they can gather just from cars saying, hey, you know, I saw a construction site. Hey, there's another Model 3. They can talk to each other. They can tell each other what they're seeing. This is a unique advantage Tesla has, producing millions of cars a year that others don't have. All right, we're getting ready now to get onto the 10 East in about 400 feet. We're in a nice Tesla train here. Wow, 4 Teslas in a line. I'm the third. All right, come on, let's make this light. Let's go, let's go. Come on, people. Fantastic. And now we are merging onto the 10 East. We're going to be getting off at La Cienega, which is kind of a tricky exit. We'll see how it does with that. Merging onto the highway, something that Waymo isn't doing yet with customers. Very nice, beautiful merge through dense LA traffic. You gotta love it. It looks like it is drizzling a little bit. And we're now in the far left lane. Great. It's a smooth, comfortable ride. And it's much quicker than Waymo can drive. Did you see the Waymo driving 72 miles an hour at any point? No. So, when you're late to work, you're not going to want to take the Waymo, even though it's driverless. You're probably going to want to take Tesla FSD because you're not going to get fired if your boss cares about you being on time. Here's the 405-10 interchange. Very crowded. Some people realizing they need to get off. All lanes slowing. 2 major freeways intersecting here. 2.5 miles away from the La Cienega exit. Typical LA traffic here today. And we're about 1.5 miles away from the La Cienega Boulevard exit. The car's starting to make a lane change to the right, preparing to get off the highway. Traveling at a good speed, keeping up with the flow of traffic. And man, it is just so natural at driving. I have to say, it's even more natural than the Waymo. It just feels more like a human and less like a robot. 0.9 miles into the La Cienega Boulevard exit, and we're in the third lane, squarely in the middle of the highway. We're now making one more lane change over, getting behind a red Tesla Model Y. And we're now making our final lane change with half a mile to go. It's made it over there with time to spare. Now this La Cienega Boulevard exit can be pretty challenging. There's cars merging in as you exit. So that can always be fun for FSD. For many years, FSD could not handle this. In recent years, I have seen it handle it, but I am a little nervous, honestly. This could be a place where we could have an intervention. So let's see what happens. All right, La Cienega Boulevard, there's a north and a south. So it needs to actually stay on the north side. It did that. Very nice. Now here's the tricky part coming up. We got to get over to the exit, but there's also cars coming in. You can see cars coming in here. There's a big truck coming in. Oh my God, how are we going to take this exit? Oh my God, look at this. Just merging on top of each other, and there's the exit. Oof. We could very easily miss this. But no, this is FS fucking D. Wow. That was great. Did you see that? That car had to merge in. We had to get over here. I thought for sure we were going to miss it. But we got to end on the highways now. And just your typical LA gridlock here. We're stuck waiting on the exit for people to merge onto the street. That makes it even more challenging to exit. And Tesla did it. So Waymo can't go on the highway because they're driverless and they don't want to take that risk yet. With Tesla FSD, you can actually do something that's challenging, and you have the human there who can take over. So you can take that route that might get you there a little bit faster, take the highway, and if something goes wrong because it's more challenging, you still have the human there. So that's one of the benefits to having a human behind the wheel. You don't have to be afraid to do anything. The human's always there to take over. And again, doing this all with cameras, knowing exactly the distance to stop. No need to shoot a laser at the car in front. Deep learning does the job. Looks like we got a green light. People are merging onto La Cienega. And we're about 8 minutes away, 2.1 miles from our destination. All right, come on, any day now. We're trying to merge in. Very dense bumper-to-bumper traffic. No problem for FSD. All right, finally we got our green light. You notice that as the light turned green, there was a woman crossing the street. Tesla FSD was smart enough to wait, even though the light was green, which is something you expect. Now it looks like there is a parked car in this lane. FSD is going to need to get out of this lane to be able to continue, and it's doing that now. Very nice. Completely smooth, completely natural. If you weren't watching it, you wouldn't even notice that it had to do that. In previous builds, previous years, that would have been a showstopper. FSD would have gotten stuck, slammed on the brakes behind that car, gotten stuck in traffic waiting for 10 minutes to get a chance to get back into the traveling lane. In 1.2 miles, we're going to be making a right turn onto Gregory Way. Traveling at a good speed here. The speed limit is 35. It's going about 38. About appropriate. Keeping up with the flow of traffic. And I have to say, well, I don't want to jinx it, but I'll just say, so far, no rough, uncomfortable moments. Everything has been completely smooth in the Tesla. The Waymo did have a couple of weird moments, slowing down too much, braking a little hard, some weird steering wheel movement, but haven't seen that in the Tesla yet. Now, of course, since I said that, I'm sure something weird is going to happen in the next 5 minutes in the Tesla. Half a mile until Gregory Way, where we're going to make a right turn. And here's the school speed limit of 25. The Tesla's going 28. It was interesting that Waymo was having issues with that. Okay, looks like we've got some construction here. There's a sign that's warning us of road work, so we'll see if we run into that or not. All right, let's move, people. Come on. All right, the car was thinking about making a right turn, but then saw all the parked cars and then decided to wait. That was very good. All right, looks like this bus is making a right turn or pulling over onto Gregory Way. And we need to actually make a right turn. So let's see what the car does. It's kind of getting stuck behind the bus here. And now the bus is moving and it's continuing. I probably would have maybe gone around the bus, but there was fast flowing traffic on the other side, so it didn't really have the opportunity. So I think it did okay with that. That was probably the biggest mistake, if you could even call it that, of the trip so far. Like, as a human, I probably wouldn't have waited, but it was acceptable, it was safe. I won't dock it too many points for that. We got some fences, some construction here. It is offsetting over where it would normally drive, which is nice. And we are approaching our destination, which is on Hayes Drive. Nice handling of the dips there, very smooth. Good speed. And here we go, it's turning left. And this is our destination right here. Very, very impressive. So what the Waymo needed all those sensors and mapping to do, the Tesla did with just computer vision. It did it smoothly, it did it naturally, it did it at the right speed. And it did it faster. And look at that, it pulled over just like the Waymo did in an open spot. Isn't that incredible? And now I've turned it off. So I think, you know, you hear so much of after the 1010 event, oh, well, Waymo is already driverless. That's great. It's great for them that they're driverless. But Tesla FSD did the same drive without an intervention through a bustling, complicated city like LA. It did it without an issue. If I had been sitting in the back seat for that drive, you know, it would have been illegal, obviously, but I could have sat in the back seat and it wouldn't have made a difference. I didn't touch anything on the drive. So honestly, people don't realize the advantages Tesla's technology has. I mean, just look at this. Go watch both drives. They're both doing the same thing, but Tesla's doing it cheaper, smoother, faster, and better. So this is, I mean, one of the craziest things I've ever seen in tech, where you have such a game-changing technology and people are ignoring it, mocking it, saying, well, there's only room for one self-driving car company. Nobody else can do anything better. And Tesla is now designing vehicles from the ground up without steering wheels and pedals to run this software. And even though we just did that drive, that 20-minute drive through LA, and I didn't touch the steering wheel once, in 2024, people think that in 2027 they won't be able to remove the steering wheel. It's funny. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll have more Waymo and Tesla comparisons very soon. Big shout out to everybody on the Waymo team and everybody on the Tesla team for putting out such amazing products that I love using every day. Take care, everyone.